I'm so excited. I love a good Saturday Facebook Live and with like a favorite couple. Here you guys are. It looks like a beautiful sunny day out east.
Oh
I think
yeah.
last time we talked, it was like snow was coming down. So
Oh yeah.
we're getting ready for spring. I have Amelia Smith and Alan Lazaros. And it's just so fun to have you guys. You're such a cute couple.
We're so grateful to be back, Harry.
So
Thank
this
you
is,
so much for having us.
oh, I love it. First of all, let's just set it up. Tell everyone about who you guys are. I'm going to let you guys do your little intro and your business, the we, and just, who you guys are. And then we're really going to get into a really kind of what I think we were just talking. So we could have just kept talking offline, but we're like, oh, I guess we should talk about this on Facebook.
Yeah.
But we got a meaty topic today. So give us a quick little intro of who Amelia and Alan are.
Go ahead.
Ladies first, babe.
Okay. So I am Amelia Smith. I am a relationship coach and I do a lot of things with relationships, whether it's coaching or helping families and individuals, even team members. And I've always been so fascinated with the human condition. And as a matter of fact, that's something that Alan and I were drawn to each other on. And we're both podcasters. So we love being able to express ourselves, which we know in the human condition is so important. And one of the things, ironically, with this topic, we'll be talking about expression, but who I am as a person, ultimately, it's how I show up in the world. So I'm always trying to connect people in a way that's far more deeper within. I focus on a lot of inner work. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, I had spent a lot of my time seeking external validation when I was younger, and then finally building up my story in terms of connecting actually on a spiritual level with myself. And while I started to do that, while I started to commit closer and closer to my truth, and get in alignment with my core values, my core beliefs, my core aspirations, and finally admit what that was to myself and then everyone else. Ironically, this amazing man came into my life and we were attracted to each other from that. And so I think that his story, I'll let him kind of go into that. But that's a lot of my background, and we're just so blessed to be here because now we even have a business called The We Together, where we help couples and individuals become better versions of themselves in relationships.
Well, and Alan's going to say who he is, but and before he does, but I'm a firm believer you meet people at the right time. Yes. And before he says who in his story, I want everyone to know that because I think it's very true as he tells his story.
Mm-hmm. So what is the we? Who am I? What do we do in the world? So we just did 29 weeks in a row. This is our 29th week doing what we refer to as a relationship talk. So as you know, both of us are podcasters, and we had challenges growing up, as we all do, and we were just trying to figure it out. We were trying to figure out who we are, how to view the world, and then how those two connect, and everything's a relationship. You have a relationship with money. You have a relationship with whether or not you like your own hair, whether or not you like your own body. You have a relationship with all the people in your life. But do you fully understand?
Don't you just love it? I mean, I love love. I love love.
It's the
so
best.
Cute.
It's literally the best.
It's the best thing.
And so you have a relationship with everything in life. Everyone does. But do you understand those relationships, and are they positive, negative, or neutral? Mm-hmm. And so 29 weeks into relationships, working with couples and individuals on relationship talks, we understand. So there's a book called The 5 Love Languages. We actually have come up with what we refer to as the 18 conscious love languages. So one example is sharing food. Sharing food with one another is a love language. And once you understand these dynamics, you can really start to be proactive about the way you navigate your life, because the deepest pain in the world comes from tarnished relationships. Mm-hmm. And who we are is so much shaped by those who influence us. And so who am I? I'm a podcaster, like she said. I'm a coach, business consultant, but really I'm someone who's always spent his life trying to understand himself and other human beings, and then how they interact together, both in business, the economy, and in life. And I've been very challenged in that arena, but I've learned so much along the way. And today we're going to talk about family dynamics. And what I was
Right.
telling you offline before we started is right now with COVID and this interconnected global economy, super technology driven, massive change in a very short amount of time, there's so much challenge and pain happening when it comes to the way we used to live versus the way we've now been forced to adapt. And I think that that's really what we're here for, is to help people understand that these challenges can be made into good things if you navigate them with higher awareness and with love.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it, because I think that's a perfect entree in, because COVID has, another name for it is stress. And not to, and the thing is that, when you talk about it, it really has caused stress in the economy, stress, being that stress in our businesses, stress, if somebody's going out to work, stress if they're working at home, stress in family dynamics, work, the work, your kids are at home, your kids are trying to go to school, you're trying to be a mom and dad, maybe your spouse is working from home, all of a sudden, I mean, I'll just take our family dynamic for a minute back to, a year ago, where I have 3 adult wonderful children who have wings and flew away. And the next thing I felt in this world was very much like, you need to come back to the mothership. Like all 3 kids lived in a big city. I didn't know, I felt very scared. And I'm not like that, my kids are,
your mama though. So,
yeah, but like they're cool. They're okay. And I was like, in so many ways, I was like, you get back to this house. Now, I couldn't really say that, I felt it. And I was walking around this house with my husband going, don't you think they should come home? Don't you think that, like, support me on this?
Yeah.
And eventually, yes, they sort of trickled in, but I didn't really know what I was asking for until I got it. And then the next thing I know, I have, one studying, one trying to go to work, one who was furloughed. So she, so they're walking around the house going, what do I do? And then I have a husband at home, technology challenged, as I have expressed here before, and he's trying to work. And we've been married almost 30 years. And I realized really quickly why. It's because he gets up in the morning and goes to work.
A lot of the world is realizing that, Terry.
Key people. If you work with your husband, have a divider, have a door.
Yeah, separation is important.
So it was really interesting that to go through all this and to bring a family of 5, and we're so blessed and so lucky. We were not food insecure, and in fact, our family was during this whole time looking for ways to help other people, and that became a stress as a publicist. With all my clients, how do my clients stay in business, but also my clients who could, how do they help others? So all of these emotions, came up at that time, like many, many, many people. But the dynamic of relationships in the house, it's, and the kids coming home and their own relationships with each other, relationships with, were they seeing people that I didn't know about, or, all the things and dynamics going on. It was interesting. Did you guys freeze there?
I think you froze for us as well.
Oh, okay.
If we cut in and out, we apologize. We're in an Airbnb up in New Hampshire. It's a little getaway.
Love that. That's okay. But so I guess, it's, you guys are a young relationship. I mean, you've been together a while, but I call it a young relationship. I'm getting to be an old relationship. But, I look at it, and that's why I love talking to you, because I don't think that the work is any different.
Yes. Yeah. In relationships, ultimately, they require work, and you can choose what type of work that is. Is it work that makes you feel extremely bright and happy and filled with
Mm-hmm.
joy? Or is it the work that actually suppresses yourself and suppresses
Mm-hmm.
your truth and minimizes who you are naturally as a human being? And one of the things that you just mentioned was how emotional this time has been. And I just had written down in front of me, emotions are truly what connect us or disconnect us. It's pretty much that simple when it comes to relationships. And so what you're experiencing is very much what everyone else is experiencing. How we used to connect prior to COVID is very, very different to how we are trying to connect in totally different circumstances. And so we're being forced to evolve when some of us never asked for that. Some of us really got excited to be comfortable and staying put, but yet we're now all being challenged as individuals and as the collective too, that collective family, to change and adapt the dynamics to each individual. And everyone has different emotions. And that's what's super important to acknowledge. Sari, like the stress that you went under as a mom is very different from the stress that your children or your husband underwent too. And so bringing it all the way back to what's important, I think at the very baseline, which is what has been fundamental in our relationship, Alan and myself, is so long as we can work to understand one another rather than being right and saying my stress is more than yours or this is more important or whatnot, which I find a lot of couples struggle to do because we all just want to be heard, right? We all just want to be seen. When we can work together collectively to understand each perspective, we can then try to work in more of a collaborative, more of a team environment towards a challenge that we're all frankly struggling with, you know? And I think that that's what's also the beauty in it. So choose the work that you want to do.
I love that you just said that because, look, it's been a long time since I've dated, thank God. and I say thank God for me, but I know, dating's hard. I mean, I see my friends who have gotten divorced and have to go do it, and I see my own kids. Dating is hard, but it also can be. It's also fun, new relationships and things like that. But I do remember the dating of a hard relationship, and I remember, and I think I shared this with you guys. Yeah. That when I met my husband, how easy it was to date him. And I remember, and this story is how nervous I was to meet his family. And his family always had dinner on Sunday night together. And, going home to meet his family the first time and, being nervous. But I remember sort of watching how my then boyfriend, now husband, was, and how he interacted with his niece, and who was only 2 at the time. And and we laugh about this now. I mean, she's over 30, and she would give me the evil eye. It was like, who is Uncle Mitch bringing home? And we just crack up about this now as she's an adult woman. And but I loved how he interacted, and it was just those dynamics of watching that. But today, and as hard as that was, I mean, it wasn't so hard to go home and have dinner. I could, but I loved how he interacted. But today, it's not so easy to just go have a Sunday night dinner in a new relationship. I mean, we're masked up maybe, or maybe the family that you're going home to has a different belief in masks or vaccines. I mean, all these sort of dynamics are coming out that have to be discussed in these relationships. And how do you, like, before it used to be like, do you like sports? Do you not like sports? Do you like Italian food, Mexican food? Now it's like, do you believe in vaccines? I mean, these are
the truth. Sari, sorry about that. So the truth of the matter is that I think COVID has gotten us all to face the fact that we're underdeveloped in this arena. And it comes down to a very simple framework that I now look through of faith and fear. Fear has drastically increased, which is basically just uncertainty. Like, do I shake this person's hand? Do I wear a mask?
Yeah.
Are we hugging anymore? Is this dynamic? Are we allowed to hug? So the old ways we used to connect, which is what we're conditioned and trained for,
Yeah.
are now no longer certain and safe. And so what I try to do is I try to ask myself, okay, am I living in faith or am I living in fear? And if I'm living in fear, how do I overcome that? You can think of it as above the line or below the line. So sorry, for example, when COVID first happened and you really wanted your kids to come back to the mothership, that was living in fear. And that's okay because it might be a valid fear given what was going on.
Yes.
But that's also, if we don't stay hyper conscious and proactive of the fact that we are in fear, our own fears might suppress
Right. And
those we
look,
love, and vice versa.
I again just love that you say that, because I think we have to move. I think to evolve, I'll say it this way, we have to move out of fear at some point
and into love.
Into love in relationships, but also out of fear in living. So when something happens, if it's something that isn't good for the collective, you have to move on and you have to move out of the fear in order to take in the love, to take in what's next. I mean, we can't, I'll personalize it. I can't live in fear. That's not who I am. That's not who I am. So while I love that my kids came home, they had to go back.
Right.
They had to go back and live their life. And I had to be the mom who made them feel it's okay. And in a relationship, whether it's collectively or one or the other, I feel that, one or the other has to say, it's okay. We're going to venture out, somehow.
Yeah. On that note, what you had said earlier really resonated with me. Easy to date your husband, but I think it really, what's underneath that is kind of what this is referencing, is it's easy to be yourself when you're in scarcity, when you're afraid, whether it's for your own safety or someone whom you love so much. You find it even more challenging to be that natural, abundant part of you, to be yourself. And that's what we call alignment. We have what we call the alignment dial. If you're constantly living in fear and just, it's like almost like a little suppressive in that nature, it's almost like a needy state that we end up being. And we sometimes don't even realize how that affects others. So your ability to kind of be more in alignment with who you are and saying, it's okay here, I now need to live my life, you all need to live yours too. That helps them to live likely in less fear than they did when they saw one of their biggest influences, their mother, being in fear. And that's another thing too. I think we drastically underestimate how much our fear has influenced other people in this particular time, specifically when it comes to relationships. I know, to personalize it, Alan and myself, we've been affected by that as well. I've gone into fear states. He's gone into fear states. My family's gone into fear states, which has affected me, and so it's just a ripple effect in terms of what that fear actually, how it shows up and how much we can actually express that natural self that we are so used to, but how can we do that in an evolved way?
So I'm one of these people who, I often say, if you, I like to give tips, I like to sort of, say to somebody like, here, try this, and so Amelia in particular, because you're really working, day to day on that personal relationship level. And Alan, don't worry, I'm not letting you off the hook.
You're good. Don't even worry about it. I want to hear more of her.
And you said ladies first anyway. But from a relationship standpoint, how do you ask, get someone to sort of feel comfortable to, I don't even know what the right word is, just sort of just take that chance and feel comfortable and go for it, in a family environment that they're not used to, or taking a chance on a relationship?
Yeah, that's such a great question, Sari, because realistically, a lot of people are trying to figure out how to do that. And what I've found in working with people on the day to day throughout this, there's one really strong tool that I've realized has been so effective in my clients and even just with family. And what it boils down is to the word that I use and kind of have termed it is courageous communication. But the thing, the actual how do you do that, right? We can all feel courageous, but then when it actually comes to that moment where you want to connect with someone or make them feel comfortable to just be who they are so that you two can just like, you don't have to worry about anything. You can just be who you
Yeah.
want to be, right? Like, because that's all we just want. Pre-COVID, I feel like a lot of us would hold up those cards of what makes us who we are. Right now with COVID, it's almost like you show your cards or you're not going to connect. And that showing your cards, it's the courageous communication, but it's vulnerability at the end of the day. If you can express your fear, whether it's as a mother, whether it's as a partner, whether as like a father to their son or their daughter, you start first. And it's really coming down to personal leadership. I had initially, prior to COVID, deemed another term, proactive family management, which was going out of your way to try to make good things happen for your family. That's very different from what I
Yeah.
literally just changed it to before this call, which is proactive family leadership. It's very different to lead in your relationships by expressing vulnerability of what your fears are and what's bothering you, what's being challenged, what's making you feel suppressed, rather than to just show those cards really close and put on a face, you know?
I think I said this to you guys before. I love the selfish time of getting therapy because
So important.
I hope people are listening and really getting, feeling what I'm feeling right now, because I am taking this in and thinking like that has really happened to me and changed in this year.
Good.
Because I know that in this, I know like last night at dinner alone, Mitch and I were having dinner and we were talking about something that happened over a year ago.
Good.
And I really hadn't expressed something happened at a family dinner. Only because we have one sort of coming up. And I said, look, I just want to say like, this is how I felt back then. I'm not really looking forward if this is going to transpire coming up. It wasn't healthy for me. And he's like, he kind of looked at me and I said, well, I didn't say it then. And he's like, I didn't know. And I said, I'm not sure I knew.
Right.
I said, I just knew I wanted to get out of there. And I didn't really know what was going on for me at the time. And now, and I said, but I know one's coming up and I'm not, I said 100% will be there. But I just want you to know, like, if this is what's going to transpire, that's not going to be good for me. That's going to take me catapulting back to some anxiety of this COVID. And I'm, like everybody have had anxiety and stress over that. And, I'm also trying to maneuver my way, just from these four walls.
Yeah.
I mean, I happily say I'm vaccinated, but in Michigan, the numbers are horrible. So I like to say I'm vaccinated. I'm still going to wear a mask and I'm going to be very, very careful when I go out, because I know plenty of people who have been vaccinated go out and have gotten it. And I don't have time to be sick, by the way. So, I mean, I think like that goes on in my mind, like, I don't have time for that.
Right.
So, but I don't also have time to be in a room where it feels heavy of, like I can say, and I've had this discussion with friends, like, I just don't have time for bullshit of like of bad juju. I just don't have it. So Alan, I want to switch to you because I feel the same, like going into that is if I have a client that's just, just bringing me down, and I've had that, I've been doing this a long time. I don't need that client. And, I know you deal, especially with Next Level University, and I love everything you're doing there, and everybody we'll give websites. But I want to talk from the business standpoint a little bit, that this has been relationships in business, money. I mean, it's, you have to have, I mean, I love my clients. I say that they're like family too. I mean, frankly, I spend more time with my clients in work
Yeah.
than I do with my husband, who comes home and we eat dinner and I'm like, okay, I'm done for the day, So what are you seeing in those conversations, in those relationships?
In business in particular?
Yeah.
I think the first thing, and I always try to go to the acorn first. We look at the mighty oak, but we forget that it started out as an acorn. The acorn business is people helping people. Always. Every business on the planet, especially if it's successful, is people within an organization helping other people, aka customers and clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't understand that and live and breathe that, you will not succeed in business, especially not today,
Right.
when the days of hiding behind a boardroom and crunching numbers are just, you still can do that, but it's a lot more transparent now with social media and documentaries and all that kind of stuff. Like it's much harder now to succeed with any of the old pull the wool over the customer's eyes tactics. And I'm really grateful for that. Transparency creates the necessity for honesty and all of that. So what I've seen during COVID is some businesses who had the skill sets of being vulnerable, true leaders who lead by example, who make their team feel safe and don't have the mentality of like, there's a bunch of other people who want this job. If you mess up once, you're out the door. Those people, in my opinion, are going to lose in the 21st century. You know why? Because right now, employee retention is harder than ever because it's an entirely global marketplace.
Absolutely.
We have an 11-person team. One is from Washington, one's from Kentucky, one's from Italy, 2 are from the Philippines. Some of them I've never met in person yet, right? But we will be going to the Philippines for sure at some point. But the point is if you're not good with people, good luck, because there's no business on the planet that is not people helping people at the end of the day. And if you can't lead, and if you don't understand relationship dynamics, and you don't understand, I'll give you an example. If your employees do not feel safe, and if they can't trust you and they don't believe that you're integrous, like within integrity, they will leave you for someone who is.
Can you define safe though? Because I think that might be helpful in this instance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you had asked me a year or two ago, what's the most important thing in a relationship? I would have said trust. And second, I would have said communication. I now have a different order. It's safety first. Safety to be yourself. You are accepted here. You are loved here for who you aspire to be. And if you can create that culture, I have a team right now, and I'll lift them up all day. The most savvy CEO would see our performance and be like, how in the hell are you guys this peak performing? And I think leadership is taking what appear to be ordinary people and helping them become their own unique version of extraordinary. And the way you do that is by creating a safe environment for them to be themselves, where they know they're going to be challenged, but more importantly, they know they're going to be accepted for who they are, so they can actually express their truth. They can do their own side projects, that kind of stuff. Go ahead.
So what's interesting about that, Alan, here this week alone, and that's why you're going to be beyond even more successful, but here in Michigan this week alone, I did a segment, and I have more coming up, about workplace growth. And I have some wonderful clients who have led some great segments on TV with us. One of the challenges with us is I think that there's plenty of employers who would agree with you, but some of the problem is the navigation of it right now. I think some of the employers would agree that their mindset is shifting to that safety, feeling safe, your voice. So the safety, the communication, the trust.
Fulfillment.
Right. But here's where it comes in, where the navigation of that roadmap and this is truly where we don't know. And this brings back the vaccine and workplace. were you vaccinated? Will you go back into the workplace? Are you better off at home? All these things that like, I don't think we'll solve here, but like I saw a report yesterday, I don't know if it was a local story or a national story, but it talked about that the growth in the workplace is higher because people are working from home. I know, thank God, I mean, the amount of clients I've taken on this year is unbelievable because I've sat right here. I mean, it's unbelievable. And part of it is drive time.
Right.
Has nothing to do with vaccine. I mean, I guess it has to do with COVID, but it has nothing to do with, the actual vaccine. It has to do with the pandemic. So I think like at some point I was thinking about this week that we're going to continue these conversations on the news about this, workplace and how employers manage their team. But at some point, I'd love for someone to say, conversation over. If you feel safe working at home and you are key and you are pumping it out, I don't care if I care if you're vaccinated because I believe in that, but that's me personally. You be vaccinated, you sit at home and you take care of your kids or whatever, you pump out that work. That's where you're the most, thriving. And you need to come back, we need you back, or whatever it is. I mean, I promised I wouldn't bring up my kids, but I know that my son got a survey this week about, do you feel comfortable? How would you feel comfortable? And I do think that employers need to start looking at that. I hope that they don't just do that as well, we did a survey, now we're going to do what we want.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry. So everything is belief driven, and then I'll
Yeah, you do, babe.
So everything's belief driven. All behavior is belief driven. So again, that's the acorn, right? So we look at the surface, we don't see what's underneath the iceberg. There's a fundamental belief with most employers, unfortunately, and that is absent. The belief that I have that I think will make the difference, and that I know many great leaders are adopting, especially in the business world, thankfully, is what is best for my employees is what's best for my business.
Mm-hmm.
How much better would the world
be
if business leaders believed that at their core? Mm-hmm. And now remember, beliefs are subconscious. So I know some business leaders that do not have that belief. What's best for my business is what matters, not what's best for my employees. They say the customer is always right. Your employee, what's best for your employees is what's best for your customers, is what's best for your business. If you don't have fulfilled employees, I don't even want to call them employees. That's the wrong term. Right. Team members, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll give you an analogy because I think it's really important to give examples. So this is down to earth, right? You have the second string bench player for the New England Patriots. We're in New England, okay? And his name, let's call him Chris, okay? He's there to support someone else getting injured, and he's critical on the team. The team might not win the Super Bowl if it isn't for that. Mm-hmm. Then you've got the cornerback, who is a very, very valued player. Then you've got the quarterback, that's Tom Brady, okay? But then you've got the coach, which used to be Belichick. But then you've also got the owner of the NFL. See, the entire thing is a team.
Right.
And if you don't view it that way, you're not going to treat people right.
Right.
And you're not going to value your employees, and then you're going to expect your team members, and then you're going to expect them to value you, but that's not how it works.
Well, and Alan, this is why you're so good, because the truth of the matter is this is what we're seeing. And I think this is what's being brought up nationally is like Ford Motor Company. We're sitting here in Michigan. They were going to bring their employees back. And now they've decided not to bring their employees back until the fall. And maybe they'll make a different decision. And from what I'm hearing is people are feeling this sense of relief. Mm-hmm. Like Ford Motor Company said, we're not ready. You're not ready. and you're essential to us, not essential in the essential you get the shot kind of, but you're essential to us. We care about you. And, we got to turn the wheel of this whole economy, all these relationships. We're not ready. And I don't have employees, but I work with so many clients that have employees. One, so many are having trouble getting employees right now for various reasons. There's a lot of people who are looking for help. And that tells you that people, one, like being on unemployment, are able to be on unemployment, but also tells you a little bit that they're not feeling so secure. And so they're going to go work where they feel secure and secure, valued, and safe. And not in any particular order, but because everybody has a different, I agree with you that, that safe, I'm well taken care of, I'm listened to. Because I think when I hear safe, I sort of bunch it together. Like,
for sure.
my health is okay. I'm heard. I think you have to be heard. And I often say that to my clients way back a year ago. Most of my clients a lot are family owned businesses. They took care of their employees by sending them home, and the businesses were run just by the family. They didn't want their employees there. They wanted, just the family there because that was but so they heard, they listened.
Right.
So to me, that was part of the safe. So
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say one thing that's really coming up for me, and I've been so eager to bring some of this to light, because really what we're circling around and keep touching on is that safety factor, because we have so much uncertainty of what the world's gonna look like. We are naturally creatures who are predisposed to just want things where it's comfortable. It's called our homeostasis. We want everything to be comfortable. Our bodies just naturally do. And so we're trying as much as possible to be comfortable. It's the same thing when we actually look at businesses too. The people who are in the leadership positions or in, senior executive areas where are making the most of the decisions that are going to impact their employees, they also need to feel safe to make those decisions. And I think that what we're seeing too, and babe, I'm sure you're seeing this as well, and Sari, I'm sure, is that we're transitioning from management to leadership. Like, what does that actually look like? Is there fear in the people who are in those leadership positions? Is there fear that they can evolve, that they can actually give the support to their employees in the way that they've been taught how? They don't necessarily know how to specifically lead, right? No,
Right.
There wasn't necessarily leadership courses that were taught. It was more management. How can we manage our employees? Right. What's coming through all of that is the personal choice. Something that I think that is drastically changing. And it really shows how beautiful of a transition this is when you look at so much more personal choices being given and valued and seen in the employee realm. And I think that another big thing that's coming up too is realizing that family and personal life is directly connected to business. Sure. And I think that prior to COVID, there was so much of the story that we were telling ourselves, whether we were employees or whether we were managers or business owners, that we should keep that separate. I think that if we acknowledge that the fact of reality is they're directly correlated, if you're suppressing yourself or having a challenging relationship on your partnership front or on your kids dynamic, you're not going to realistically be able to perform in your work that you contribute to the world and help others with as drastically as you could. Why? Going back to that very first thing that we started with.
Melissa's story.
Because
Tell them Melissa's story about with your VA.
Oh,
that's a perfect example.
Literally. Yeah. So my VA, she's absolutely amazing. Her name's Isa. So she was so afraid to kind of say that she was going through some things with her kids health wise, right? And that she needed help. And so what that help actually looked like was sending her invoice earlier. For me as her employer, aka her teammate, I consider her family because she's helping the mission. 100%. If I can help out, make her feel less stressed so that she can take care of her family, I know that her contributions and work to help our mission, that she, like that's going to
She
be
just had to
significantly more
communicate
lasting.
that.
Exactly.
But she
But
had
Yeah.
to feel safe to
she
do
had
that.
to feel safe.
Yes.
And honestly, I'm sure she hadn't had leadership does not realize that that's a priority, that they need to make sure their teammates feel safe. And it goes back down to that personal choice. Can you liberate someone and trust them that they'll make the best choice? And I think we're seeing more and more of that. But I know what I was like, please just take the day for your health. Like, it's so important to me. I value that. And so I want you to know that you can value that too, because they're directly attached to one another. I don't want you doing half-ass work.
Right.
Feel like crap, not because the work's going to be less. That's second priority for me. It's because you're sacrificing your health to do a mission that we are so inspired by. We don't do that when we're not taking care of what's at home and what really matters to us, and so I think that's really important.
This is why Amelia and Alan are so good, because Amelia just took it all the way back full circle, which I'm so happy. And we're not going to end quite yet, but we will in a minute, because they're on vacation on a beautiful Saturday and it's almost lunchtime and they should go find some amazing place to have lunch. I'm going to keep working.
We'll be working. Don't worry.
Be working too.
We love this.
We got book club after this. Next
Yeah.
level
Oh,
book
I know.
club.
I love your, okay. So everybody, you know what, like give your websites right now, because I love your book club and everything.
Oh, thank you. So nextleveluniverse.com. So the podcast is Next Level U, pun intended. It's actually Next Level University, right? Next Level U. But the website is Next Level Universe, which includes everything. Mm-hmm. So if you go there, you'll learn everything about me, probably more than you need to know or want to know.
And now you have a book club.
Yes, and now we have a book club. So it's starting at 12:30. Actually, I was looking at the clock and I was like, okay, I got to prep for that.
I know. I could keep talking.
Every Saturday. So we're reading right now, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
So good.
The simple pitch is basically a safe place to discuss powerful books with incredible people.
Yeah, I love this book that you're talking about too. I really should jump on this. I'm telling you, I saw you promoting this book this week, and I hate to say, because I interview authors and then God love them, they send me their books, and I'm like, it's like stacking up, and I'm like, I end up working. I get yelled at from Mitch, but I end up working at night, and he's like, you have a book sitting there.
What, you haven't read mine yet, or? I'm kidding.
I don't think you sent me your book.
I didn't.
Well, when you can integrate, Sari, it's like connecting amazing human beings with a book. Like, that's huge for me too. I struggle with even trying to pick up a book, but when you have amazing conversations behind that, there's more why power underneath doing what it is that you love to do, that you want to do. There's also so much value that comes out of that.
Well, I will tell you, here's my May secret. I blocked off Fridays starting like 3:00. I thought, and I'm gonna, no, not necessarily for reading, but like nothing else. So I want my day to end on Friday at 3. So if I want to go sit outside by 3:00 on a Friday, I will maybe grab a book, but I'm going to try not to have my laptop or phone in my hand. So yes, hopefully it will be catching up on reading of something, whether it be the book or just reading I'm not getting to during the week, because I end up looking at all kinds of articles and things that are associated, like great for my clients, but I'm not getting to it. And so yeah, why don't you send me your book?
I don't actually have it written yet. We will. We're in process.
But I was going to say, Amelia, you did take it back, and I do believe that if whether you say if you're happy in your work life, that makes you happy at home, or you're happy at home, that takes you into your work day. I do think they have to gel, and if you're not feeling happy somewhere, you need to take a look. I think that this is a very incredibly unique time in our lives, and I kind of said this for over a year. Give yourself a break. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but because I don't want to be trite when people don't have the same money coming in, and you see that, one thing we didn't talk about, and we should talk about this with relationships and in general, is how you message yourself, which is always a key to me on social media. I personally, I follow you guys, and if you follow me, every once in a while in the morning, I wake up and I will say, people, like the world, be careful what you put out there.
For sure.
And it's chances are because I was scrolling at like 5 a.m. going, oh my God, these people are so off brand. And, and I know it's because they're either frustrated or I don't know what they're doing. They're trying something, who knows? But social media was not intended to be a vent.
Right.
It has become that.
Right.
So, I mean, I know you guys use it for all the love and the good and promotion that it's intended to be, and stay on brand, thank God.
Thank you.
It's an extension of your values. When you think about it, we talk about, and Alan, really dives into this, the mental, physical, emotional, spiritual part of yourself. And I added to that. I was like, babe, there's a digital to that as well, because we're connecting, those are all the ways that we connect with ourselves and with other individuals. And the digital has come up so much. So if you're able to extend your values through that, and I'm sure, the brand message, what your message is, it's the goals, the values, the beliefs, and all of the things, how you can extend that, what that act actually looks like. And if it's in alignment, and I think that the digital front is a beautiful way how you can do that. And that's the positive side of that, but it can also be used for toxic.
Yeah. Right. And I always warn people, when you put it out there, you're going to elicit likes, comments. So, and that's true of, I would believe that the first time you guys put a picture of the two of you, the likes and the loves, lit up, because people want to celebrate that too. And you got text messages going up,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget, there's some kind of, I think it's the Facebook movie where, they're like, you don't know how to change your social, your status on social media. I mean, like, when Facebook started, people would put like, in a relationship, and I'm like, hello, you're putting it out there. You're in a relationship. And so, you're telling the world, which again, you're allowing people into that private world in a very public way. And so, careful what you wish for. In some ways, you're saying, bring it on in a very positive way, or, in whatever you put out there. But I just, to me, whether it's a personal relationship, a business relationship, if you put it out, make sure it's the message you want.
Right.
Yeah.
You touched on a great point. Brand, I don't think people understand fully what that means. It is your reputation in the marketplace. So we all went to high school, or some school. We had a reputation. Whether you like it or not, you have a reputation. And everything you post and don't post is part of that reputation. I can say, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, everyone knows McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right. I can say Michael Jackson. Everyone has a certain association with that. Here's an extreme example. Tiger Woods, his old reputation versus his new one. See, there's an association. None of us know him personally, unless you do happen to know Tiger. I don't. But that is what's happening. One post can shift your reputation forever. You just have to be aware of that.
Right.
And I think the question is, are you sharing the parts of you that are the aspirational core values and core beliefs? Is it congruent with who you want to be and who you want to be seen as, and what are the implications of that in the actual marketplace? I don't think people fully understand.
And Alan, I will add to it, because unfortunately the other component of that is when we see something, our minds also, as we decide too how we see it.
Of course.
But
perception.
But what I also tell my clients is, in good faith, you put out there what your core value is, and that's what you said.
And then you hope that it's received
right. If you
in the way that it is truthful.
Right. Like I'll say, I mean, if you ever see me wake up in the morning, I told you guys this. If I'm ever frustrated politically, you'll see a Bruce Springsteen post. That is my, like I wanna like shout at the world. I just use a Bruce, song or something. That's my meditation. However, if I'm frustrated with the business and social media world, you'll see, please stay on brand.
Yeah.
It's just, like, world, get on brand, and it's just, it means, like, to a retailer out there, is that really what you want? Are you,
I know.
And,
Right.
And it goes beyond your logo and your colors, and, I so appreciate, because when I see you guys on social media, you really have just done an amazing job branding who you are individually, which I appreciate, but also collectively, which is amazing from a business perspective, which is why, I'm going to say this. We're going to do this again, because I know we start off with a topic.
Yeah.
We start off with a topic and go, every which way. Which I can't help it, because I adore you both.
We appreciate you. I just want to make sure, because I jumped in with my website. I want to make
sure. Oh
yes,
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Well.
Thanks, baby.
Of course.
I would just send everyone to the whypowerpodcast.com or just to that podcast, because that's really where my heart is, my values. It's really an extension of who I am. Talking about brand. What was that?
Make sure you enunciate that.
The Why Power Podcast. So
tell me, it's THEWHYPOWER.com.
The Why Power Podcast.com.
Yeah. So I would send people to that. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and our website's coming up. We're baby there, but we're getting better. Sarah, you probably look at it and cringe right now. It's a little cringy, but
I think we had that conversation. We're going to have that conversation offline.
For sure.
Send a message, build your brand.
Yeah. But we're working, and you know what, that's my heart and soul is in the podcast and in my clients and in the and so we really appreciate the opportunity to be here, Sarah. It's
anytime. I like I said, I rarely do this on Saturday, but really only for you guys. Aww. Ellen, I know you have to get on
book club
and
the next level book club.
Next level book club. Give your podcast partner Kevin my love.
I will.
I love watching the two of you guys. I mean, you guys have just a powerful arena going. I mean, just lots of great things. I will put all the tags and everything where to find you guys. I think it's just a really powerful message. All ages, all things, from a relationship to business relationships, which I think are really intertwined, bringing a really positive message right now. I think I really believe that people need to take a look inside and figure out, if you're feeling down, what is it? And if it's work life, are you getting from your employer that safe, trusted communication? And if not, how do you approach that? And, in your relationships, are you feeling or not feeling that same safe and communication? Because, you want to bring home that someone special this summer. How are you going to do it? We're masked up or not masked up within our own circles. And, my friends know that, they get me, honesty and all. So, you have to be really clear in your communication.
Yeah.
Anyone who listened to this, I'll leave you with one main golden nugget, and I promise this will be the last thing I say. If you're in any team, which you are, whether it's family, business, you name it, sports team. Am I connected here? Ask yourself that question really and be honest. Am I connected here? Do I feel connected here? Number 2, do I feel safe here? Number 3, do I have a bright future here? That third one is very critical, and we didn't go into it on this one, but that third one is super critical. Those are all 3 subconscious yeses. If they're not hell yes in your subconscious, you will not be at your optimal performance.
Yeah. And this just came up for me while we're talking about masks. Like we will walk around with masks on our face, like, but I think we've walked around for so long with masks on our hearts. And I think that being very conscious about who you're unmasking your heart to is important, but don't let that fear of the rejection, of the not belonging, of what happens after that prevent you from being who you are and preventing you from speaking your truth, whether it's in a work setting, whether it's with your kids, whether it's as a mom, like that's so important. And so like be conscious of what masks you're putting on your heart, just as much as the consciousness that's being applied to the face.
The face,
Mm-hmm. I think that's bringing up a whole other topic.
We got him
next time
that we're going to dive into.
2 Saturdays from today.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We could just keep going on this. All right.
Thank
I know you
so
guys.
much.
Okay, please. All right. Do your book club, then go out and have an amazing Saturday. Do something fun together. It looks too gorgeous out there. And we got to take advantage of spring because like here in Michigan, it snowed at the beginning of the week. So
yeah.
Who knows?
We understand.
I love you both to death.
I love you too. Thank you so much.
You guys are amazing. I will talk to you soon. We're going to do this again. You know
Sounds
that.
good.
All right. Be well.
You as well.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.